from Mike. Dear Director Klavan Abraham Hartwell, I just finished listening to Werewolf Cop on Audible, and I enjoyed both the story and your narration very much. How long did this take you to write and then record? Could you tell us about some of the most interesting steps in this timeline? Thanks from Mike. You know, there were a lot of questions today about writing, so I'll sort of pile them on together. Werewolf Cop, I don't know. I think a novel takes anywhere from a year to 2 years. You know, there's also a lot of like thinking about it. You get the idea, but then you got to let it generate. You kind of dump it back in the water and let it come back up again with new things attached. And then there's an outline. I am a very big outliner. I hate it. I don't hate it. I dislike it. It's the only part of my job that bores me. I love writing. I love what I do. But writing an outline is a boring grunt work, because what you got to do is you got to make sure the plot is going to work. And every time you're writing an outline and you hear yourself say, well, I'll fix that in the writing, you got to stop and say, no, I will fix that here. Because once you're writing, you want to be able to write. You want to be able to create characters. You want to be able to create moments. You want to be asking yourself, which of these two ways of phrasing a sentence is going to create the effect that I want to create? And so you want the outline to be there every day when you sit down. And sometimes I'll abandon an outline midway. Sometimes I'll fix it midway. But I want it to be there so at least I know what I'm doing each day. And that's the first thing I do. And then, of course, there's the research. And research is really important because research gives things a verisimilitude. I don't really care if my things are realistic. Obviously, a story about a werewolf is not going to be that realistic. But I want it to be filled with kind of weight so that when you read it, it feels like it's real. In Werewolf Cop, there's a huge backstory that is based on a true story, a true medieval trial in which I read the transcripts of the trial of a werewolf. A guy was charged with being a werewolf. And it leads into some of the German mythology that runs through the story. And the research is really important. And finally, the writing is my favorite part. And I write everything, 20 times. I mean, I write every word 20 times. I go over it and over and over it. Doing that now with Another Kingdom, which we're doing for the podcast in the fall. I just keep writing it until it sounds exactly the way I want it to sound. And I think I can safely say that I am known in the publishing industry for my clean manuscripts. By the time they get to the editor, there's very little for them to fix. And finally, recording takes about 3 days. You come in and it's hard work because you sit in a little studio, in a box of a studio, for maybe 7-8 hours, and you just read. And it's fun in the sense that when you take a break, there are a lot of actors around, and actors are always fun people to talk to. So you get to sit around with actors, but it's just, it's 3 days of hard work, and then you're done. And then they produce it. I think that answers everything. And a lot of people ask, how do you write such and such, people who are budding writers? But, the outline thing is a big deal. The outline thing is the thing that keeps you, first of all, it means your research is done. You don't have to take off. You don't suddenly get to a place and think, I don't know how a cop would do this, because it was already in the outline and you researched it. And it's just preparation, like everything. Preparation makes everything else easier.